Hi there, thanks so much for joining me. My name is Susan Timchak and I'm an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up! And I'd like to welcome you here today. If you're brand new to my channel, thank you so much for stopping by. And you'll want to make sure, if you enjoy what you see, to hit the subscribe button and the little bell next to it to receive notifications when I upload new videos. And you may hear a little squeaking in the background, and that's just my dog joining me in my Stampin' space here and playing with her toy while my cat is sitting up on the back of my chair watching the dog very intently. So it's a full house here tonight. So I'm glad to know that you guys are here with me and I'm not all fur-babied alone. But today I want to share with you this really fun, sweet card. This was one of the cards I created this past week at an adult education class that I'm running for the next 3 weeks. And I thought, before I put my materials away from class, I would go ahead and share the sample with you as well, because this may inspire you to create something of your very own. Now, you may not have the stamp set, you may not have the supplies that I've used, but that's perfectly fine. We're looking at the layout, so thinking of using the layout in whatever supplies it is you have. But if you really love the supplies, you're going to want to hurry, because this stamp set, this paper, and coordinating items are only available through the end of May. Now, you've already missed out on this really fun ribbon, which was a ribbon pack. Let me move this over so you can see. This was a pack of shimmer ribbon that was available during Celebration. So you missed out on that, but we have many other ribbons, or you can color the ribbon with your markers if you want. So let's get started with this fun card, and let me show you how I created it. And the ladies loved it, by the way. And wait till you see the 2 other projects that we made. And it was very exciting to meet these women, because a few of them have never ever stamped before. So yeah, that was exciting. I love it when I meet new people, new stampers. So okay, let's put that aside. First off, we have a piece of the Dazzling Diamonds paper that I used one of our scallop punches to punch out for them. I try to do some of the work ahead of time so they can enjoy the class rather than feeling like they have to rush through to get all the projects done. And I think they really did enjoy the class, and they're looking forward to this coming week, which I was working on just very early this morning when I woke up. So anyhow, we are using the stamp set called Magical Day, and this was late in bringing to my stamp collection because I hemmed and hawed over it, and when I've been seeing so many fabulous ideas of everyone using it, I just didn't want to miss out on it. And then if you purchase the 2 of these together, which this is the framelit dies and the stamp set through May, you will save 10%. And who doesn't love saving money? So what are these dies? Well, you were asking. Let me tell you. These coordinate, and let me just get these off of here. They're on with this sticky adhesive. These are called framelits, and they coordinate with these stamps. So you can stamp your item and then use this with your Big Shot die cutting machine and cut them out. So you don't have to do any fussy cutting, unless you enjoy doing that, but I would much rather use my time in playing with more items. So it has a couple extra things on here too. I had debated, and I didn't originally order this, and then I had to go back in and order just the framelits and pay full price. I know, but I do get a discount, which is a great reason to join Stampin' Up! Now with our new catalog coming out. But it does have a banner. It has some waves, some little sea plants here, whatever you want to call those, and just a couple extra elements that are included to use with the Magical Day stamp set. So that's what we're using, and you can order this 24/7 through my online store over at stampitsucreates.stampinup.net. Alright, so first off, we're going to start with our card base, which is Whisper White, cut at 4 1/4 by 11 and scored at 5 1/2. And this is Lemon Lime Twist. let me move this card over here so it's still in your vision. Whoop. And it's not going to get zhushed by me. So I'm using this little star, and I just think this makes a nice little background. Normally I would use a block that's a little bit smaller, but I was just too lazy to go get one, and this is part of the blocks that I keep on my desk at all times, so that's what's coming to the party today. So very light background. We don't have to worry about down at the bottom because we're going to put our designer series paper down there, which this set, let me just clean that quickly. This set has beautiful designer series paper, and it's a specialty paper because can you see in this paper the glitz and the glimmer and the shimmer? I'm trying to get it there. Can you see that? Isn't that beautiful? Well, all the paper has that too, and really, really fun designs on there. So check that out in the Occasions catalog. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take my piece of designer series paper, and this is cut at 4 by 2.5 inches, so it goes a long way. And if you're not into unicorns, look at the beautiful back. You can use those for manly cards, Father's Day cards, things like that. I'm going to use Fast Fuse today, again, because that was what was within reach. So that's going to go down on the bottom of the card, leaving yourself a little white border to go around. All right, next up, we have this beautiful washi tape, and look at the glitz and glimmer in that. And this is part of this whole suite of products. So we're going to go ahead. I think I'm going to do something a little differently. One of the women at class, she's so funny. She comes to a lot of my classes, and she is not a fan of ribbon. So right away I knew that she wasn't going to be interested in wanting to put any ribbon onto her card. So instead, I told her run another strip of washi. And I think that's what I'm going to do on this card rather than tying a bow. I think that is going to be the plan. Okay, so we ran that piece of washi, and that one just doesn't want to let go of me. And then let's go ahead and run this other piece of washi. And we're going to go right on top of that. Actually, what we can do is let's use all three. Let's use this iridescent Dazzling Diamonds washi as well, because if it's magical unicorns, I mean, we have to have our card be magical as well. I'm having trouble sticking this down because I'm kind of at an angle doing this. And I have these nails on from when I did my presentation at On Stage last weekend, and I really need to get them cut because I'm just not used to them. And you know, like, your activities of daily living just get interfered with having beautiful nails. It's something us women have to just, you know, suck up, right? If we want to be, our hands to look beautiful. But they are way too long for me now, so I have to address that. Okay, so there, look at how beautiful that is, just running that instead of the ribbon. So if you love ribbon, you can go ahead and add a piece of ribbon. But if you're not much of a, you know, ribbon liker, then you don't have to. All right, so let's go and use our basic gray. And we're going to stamp You Are One of a Kind. And I'm going to use that with the gray. Make sure I'm going the right direction. And sometimes when you're stamping, instead of just stamping and pulling away right away, give it like a few seconds there to kind of absorb right into the cardstock, and you'll find you'll get a better image that way. All right, so we have that there. Now we're going to go ahead and stamp the unicorn, and I just have a scrap piece here, and I'm going to use basic black to stamp the unicorn because we want to stamp him and color him, and then we're going to use the punch to punch it out. So I find that works best. All right, there's the unicorn. We're done with that. Okay, so let me see, what is next? We're going to use our markers. And these are Stampin' markers, Stampin' Write markers. And we're using the colors of, let me flip them so I can see them, Rich Raspberry along with the Bermuda Bay. And if you're not familiar with our markers, we have 2 tips on the markers. And you'll see these 2 lines on each end. The thicker line indicates the brush tip marker. The thinner line indicates the writing tip marker. So because this little unicorn has some really small details in him, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and use that fine tip on his little unicorn with the Rich Raspberry. And then I'm going to use Bermuda Bay also on his little ear. And I'm using the smaller tip to get into these smaller areas. And then I'm going to go ahead and use the brush tip for the more wider areas. Because this is great for small areas, but you really don't want to use this small tip. Number one, to get into larger areas, because number one, it's going to take you a lot of coloring back and forth. And, you know, we're all about pressed for time sometimes to make a quick card for a party or for just because. And number two, you're going to get like those little scratchy lines coloring in. So we don't want it to look like that. We want it to look real nice and pretty. So, all right. And you know, if you go outside the lines, that's perfectly fine. Alrighty, but our markers are a great way to add color to stamped images and to color on your stamps and many other things like that. So then, of course, many of you know Wink of Stella always comes to the party. So we're going to use Wink of Stella. I'm going to kind of squeeze out a little bit on the side and apply that right to the unicorn, because unicorns are magical. So we want our unicorn to be sparkling, dazzling, and magical as well. So just color that in, just like that. And I didn't want to squeeze too much, because if you squeeze too much, you know, a big blob will come out. So you want to make sure you don't do that right over your project, that you do that off to the side. Then we're going to use a 2-inch punch. And we're going to punch out our unicorn. And he's not going to fit perfectly, but he fits the bill for what we need. And to adhere this to this Dazzling Diamonds paper, we're going to go ahead and use our Tombow glue, because sometimes it has a hard time sticking to that paper. So we're just going to have just a little highlight and of that scallopy punch border. Alrighty. And then we're just going to use our dimensionals, which, my goodness, I always have dimensionals. Well, you know what? Here's some left over from a paper pumpkin kit. They'll work too. And I'll tell you, those paper pumpkin kits, if you're not a subscriber, you're going to want to go ahead and check out the video I did for the month of April. That kit is just amazing. And Stampin' Up! Gives you so many supplies in these kits, and you can get the upcoming one for May at 50% off if you're a new Paper Pumpkin subscriber. If you've been a subscriber before, then, you know, use a different email address, because that's how Stampin' Up! Tracks Paper Pumpkin subscribers, is through an email address. So, I don't know about you, but I have multiple email addresses. So just use a different one, and come on back to Paper Pumpkin. They've really improved from what it had been in prior years, and see if it's something you want to get into. The summer's coming. You're going to want to look for some ways to relax, and what better way than have a kit come right to your door. Alright, so here we go. We're going to put that on there, and that card is officially complete. So what do you think?